Subtracting integers or subtracting positive and negative numbers can be tricky, and the reason why is because different people teach this a different ways. There's many different ways to teach it. The way that I do it is of course easiest to me, so I'm going to show you how I do it. The rule for subtracting integers is exactly the same rule as for adding integers. The only difference is you have to change your setup. For example, if I start with something like 2 minus 3, okay, it's definitely a subtraction problem. What I do is I take a side, I take the minus sign and the 3 and I scooch them aside. I go like this. I separate them. And then I put a plus sign in the middle. And then I follow the addition rules. So when there's a subtract sign, I just stick it with that second number and scooch it to the side, and I use the addition rules. I just add. Now in this instance, I have 2 plus a negative 3, and the rule says if there are unlike signs, as these are, we subtract the numbers. 3 minus 2 gives me 1. Then I determine the larger number. My larger number between 2 and 3 is 3. Since 3 has a negative sign, my answer will have a negative sign. So 2 plus a negative 3 is negative 1. Now our original problem did say 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, let's try it the other way. Let's say I have 3 minus 2. Well, this is just like you learned it in elementary school. 3 minus 2 doesn't do any different, but let's go ahead and follow the rules just to make sure that we understand them. You take that minus 2, scooch it to the side, and put a plus sign in front. Now we're going to go 3 plus a negative 2. You follow the rules. Are they like signs or unlike signs? Well, there's a positive 3 and a negative 2. They're unlike signs. So I subtract the two numbers. 3 minus 2 gives me 1. Then I figure out that the bigger number is 3, and since 3 is positive, my answer will be positive. 3 plus negative 2 is 1, just as 3 minus 2 is 1. Do you see how the rules are working? Let's try another example. Let's say I have a negative 2 minus 3. What I do is I take that subtract sign, I stick it with that last number, and I scooch that all to the side. I put a plus sign in the middle. So what I'm actually doing here is a negative 2 plus a negative 3. Now if you get confused without parentheses, you can put parentheses in there. There's nothing to that, just however you want to do it. And then you follow your addition rules. The signs are both negative, so on like signs, we add the two numbers together. 2 and 3 gives me 5 when I add them together. And I notice they're both negative, so my answer is going to be negative. So negative 2 plus a negative 3 is a negative 5. Let's do one more, make sure we've got this understood. If I have negative 3 minus 2, like I said, let's wrap it around the other way. Take the minus sign, stick it with that last number, and scooch that over to the side just a little bit. So it'll be a negative 2, and then have a negative 3, and then just put an add sign in the middle and follow the addition rules. If the signs are the same, they're both negative numbers, add the numbers. 2 and 3 gives you 5. They're both negative, so the solution, the answer will be negative. So negative 3 plus negative 2 is negative 5, just as negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. Just as negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Now I want to pay close attention to this for just a second. If you'll notice what we did on these two examples here, we just switched the negative 2 and the negative 3. When we did that, we still got the same answer, negative 5. And you think to yourself, well, of course we've still got the same answer. It's the same problem. You just reversed them. No. Let's look back. Right here we reversed them, and the same thing didn't happen. I did 2 minus 3 here, and down here I did 3 minus 2. Now it still gave us a 1, but On the first time we did it, it gave us a -1, and the second time we did it, it gave us a +1. So you have to be very careful when you're subtracting integers because it won't swap like that. Okay, now that we've got that, what we're going to do is we're going to try some more examples. Let's say that I have, that's not the right color. Let's say that I have, let's do 6 minus 9. If I want to subtract 6 minus 9, what I do in my head, I put the minus sign with the 9 and I scooch it over to the side. And I put a plus sign in the middle. So I'm going to go 6 plus -9, and then I'm going to follow the same set of rules that I did with addition. My signs are unlike. One's a positive, one's a negative, so I subtract the two numbers. 9 minus 6 gives me 3. Then we look to find the larger number. 9 is larger than 6, so I take the sign from 9, which is negative, and I get my answer as -3. So 6 plus a -9 is -3. 6 minus 9 is -3. Alright, let's go -4 minus 8. Take my negative with my 8, scooch it to the side. Gives me a -8 and then a -4, and you just add the two numbers together. They are like signs, so -4, -8, you're going to get -12. Like numbers, you add the two numbers. 4 and 8 gives you 12. Since they're both negative signs, then the answer gives us a negative sign, so it's a -12. I think that this pretty much covers how to subtract integers. What we do is we follow the same rules as we do with adding integers. It's just remember to put that negative sign with that last number, scooch it to the side, and then add the two numbers together following the addition rules.